What is going on, everybody? If you're new, welcome. And if you're not new, then welcome back to my YouTube. And today we're going to be doing my NFL playoff predictions for the 2020-2021 NFL season. We've got, if you want to check out my regular season predictions, you can check that out. It's somewhere on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to link it. So, if you want to look for it, go ahead and look for it. But without further ado, I say we get into some predictions here. And we're going to start off AFC, go NFC. So, first game, not the first game in order. That's the Colts Bills. But the first game we're going to look at is the Ravens and the Titans. Now, I don't know if this is bold. I mean, I don't know if this is a bold thing to say here, but I'm going to say the Titans win. But I'm going to say they win by at least 10. That's the bold part. I don't expect this to be super close. The Titans have beaten the Ravens 2 times in the last year. I don't see that there's a reason to pick against them here. Maybe their defense, but again, they beat the Ravens twice in 1 year. So I don't see why I should pick against them until they lose to the Ravens. I'm going to go Pittsburgh Steelers over the Browns. The Browns are just now practicing for the first time today with a game in 2 days for their first playoff game in 18 years. I don't even know if they'll have Kevin Stefanski or not. Even if they did, this game would be a lot closer, but I don't know if they will or not. So I'm going to go with the Steelers in a pretty safe. I feel pretty safe about that one. Low-ish game, maybe like 21-10, somewhere around there. This game I expect to be a higher scoring game. These guys have played last week with backups in, and the Browns barely won. Also, that's another reason why I'm definitely picking the Steelers. If their starters play, I don't expect them to lose at all. Even though they're not playing like they were 2 months ago. So, Bills, Colts. This game I think is going to be a lot closer than people think. I've heard people say that the Bills are going to blow out the Colts. I think it's going to be a really close game. These two teams, I think, are a really good matchup. Great defenses, solid offense for the Colts. The Bills have a crazy offense. I'm going to go with the Bills. They're the hottest team in the NFL. I don't expect the Colts to win, but I think they really could. Colts are probably my sleeper team to go far in the AFC because I think if they beat the Colts, they do have a chance to go, I think, pretty far. It's just I don't like Phillip Rivers in the playoffs either. So that's a knock on the Colts as well. I know, very, very predictable. The 2, 3, and 4 in the AFC. Whatever. NFC, Bucks against the football team. Team without a name that's 7-9 making the playoffs. I mean, it's pretty easy for me. I'm going the Bucks. It's pretty much a super team once they get everything figured out on offense. If Bruce Arians would let Tom Brady play like Tom Brady's always played, this team would be legitimately unstoppable. But since Bruce Arians and Tom Brady if they keep having their styles clash with each other, then Washington might be able to win. I just don't think their offense is good enough to beat the Buccaneers defense. If the Washington offense was maybe average, I think they might have a shot. They're my sleeper team. If they beat the Bucks, they're my sleeper team to go far in the NFC. It's just, yeah, I don't think they'll beat the Bucks. That D line is gonna beat up Tom Brady though. I do think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a really low scoring game, just because both defenses are great. It's just the Bucks offense is way better than the football team offense. I just want to say Redskins every time. Seahawks, Rams. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. Even if Jared Goff plays, I do think the Seahawks are still going to win. The Rams lost to the Jets. I lost all faith in them at that point, even if they did recover themselves. But if Jared Goff isn't playing, the Seahawks are going to kill him. They're going to absolutely destroy them, I think. Even though their offense has been really struggling, it's the playoffs. I think they'll pick it up a little bit. And I think the Seahawks beat the Rams, even if Jared Goff plays. Saints, Bears. I'm going with the Saints. The Bears, I don't think, are a playoff team. I would have liked if the Cardinals made it in over them. I feel like they probably should have made it in over them. But the Bears had the edge. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think the Saints beat them pretty handily. Not necessarily in a high-scoring game either, because Drew Brees in the playoffs is slightly, I think maybe even slightly more reliable than Phillip Rivers. Just not very. Let's go to the divisional round. I think I picked all the favorites, even though the Bucks technically are an upset since they're the away team. Which, I know, very, very unoriginal by me. But this is a prediction. This isn't a necessarily hot take prediction. Because I could do that, and I'd have my sleeper teams, but this is not a hot take prediction. This is just my predictions. Bills, Steelers. I don't think that Steelers defense is going to be able to contain the Bills. I mean, I do think the Steelers defense is one of the best in the NFL. They are. But that Bills team just looks superhuman the last couple weeks. I don't think they'll be stopped by the Steelers, who haven't looked like themselves for 2 months. So that's my logic there. Chiefs, Titans. Neither team has a super reliable defense. I think the Titans, they had a shot last year. I think they have a shot this year beating the Chiefs too. I'm going to go with the Chiefs, though. I don't think they'll lose to the Titans. I think they'll absolutely shred the secondary of the Titans. I don't know. I just don't think the Titans really have a chance to beat the Chiefs this year. Less than they did last year, I think. But honestly, if you look at the playoff teams in the AFC, I think any of them would be able to beat the Chiefs, except maybe the Browns. Maybe the Browns couldn't, but I think any other team could. Maybe even the Steelers. I don't know if they could too. Maybe they could. I don't know. But that doesn't matter, since I don't have them winning. So, Seahawks, Saints. Now, if this was the Seahawks team from the first couple weeks, I would have went with the Seahawks. I think the Saints win. I don't think Drew Brees plays after this year. He's been injured for back-to-back. He got injured in back-to-back years, different injuries, whatever. Sure, still got injured in back-to-back years. I don't think he plays after this year, and if he does, then the Saints are just limiting themselves. I think the Saints are really limited with Drew Brees, even with Alvin Kamara and everything. I'm gonna go with the Saints over the Seahawks, though. The Seahawks defense is not what you want to rely on, even though they've been playing pretty well past couple games. That offense hasn't done anything for, again, like 2 or 3 months. So I'm going with the Saints. Bucks, Packers. The Bucks already beat the Packers. That's not why I'm picking them. The Bucks destroyed the Packers, and I don't expect the exact same thing to happen. I expect the Packers to score a little more than they did in that game. Maybe get in the 20s. I just don't think the Packers are going to be able to stop the Bucks, even in Lambeau. Playoff Brady is a different Brady, and I'm thinking we're going to see that Brady. And so I think the Bucks will be able to beat the Packers as long as they can keep them, as long as they can keep Aaron Rodgers contained and that Packers offense contained like they did when they beat them earlier in the season. I think they'll be fine. I know you can't expect the same thing to happen twice, but I do think they'll still pull out the win. Chiefs Bills. As well as Josh Allen has played this year, I don't think he's ready for the Super Bowl. I don't think the team. I think the team itself might be a Super Bowl ready team. I just don't think Josh Allen is a Super Bowl ready quarterback yet. And I think at some point in the playoffs he will get exposed because all the teams in the playoffs are in the playoffs for a reason. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl over the Bills, even though the Bills are really hot right now. Just dropped 56 points on one of the better defenses in the NFL this season in the Dolphins. I just think in the playoffs, at some point, Josh Allen is going to stop being superhuman Josh Allen and come back to last season Josh Allen, which is mediocre Josh Allen. So I expect the Chiefs to beat the Bills, even if it's not in this Chiefs Bills game, if it's the Steelers game. But at some point I think Josh Allen's going to get maybe not, but that's what I think is going to happen. And I think if it doesn't happen before this game against the Chiefs, it'll happen during the Chiefs game. But this game has shootout potential, and I'm all for it. So Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I know the Saints beat the Buccaneers twice, and I know that this is going to be in the Superdome. But I think a lot of that is because of the styles clash between Brady and Bruce Arians. I think if Bruce lets Brady play like Brady and Brady plays like Brady, the Bucs easily win. I don't think any team can really stop the Buccaneers if Tom Brady plays like Tom Brady. Now, Bruce Arians, he's a good coach. He's a great coach. He made not very good quarterbacks look like good quarterbacks. But, I don't know. I know that the Saints have a very good chance to beat the Bucs since they have beaten them twice and everything. Yeah. I just don't. I think in the playoffs it's different. I think the Buccaneers finally find a way to beat the Saints team in the playoffs. And now it's the Super Bowl. Yes. I know that this was my regular season prediction too. You can look at that in my regular season's predictions video. Playoffs shaped up a little different, but ultimately we're at the same conclusion. Chiefs Buccaneers, and since it's the same conclusion, I'm going with the same answer I had. I'm going with the Bucs. The only reason the Chiefs beat the Buccaneers earlier in the season is because for the first half, really, the Buccaneers were blitzing Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes loves blitzes. You don't blitz Patrick Mahomes to beat him. What you do is you don't let him drop 10 feet back in the pocket. More than 10 feet, like 10 yards deep in the pocket so he could throw the ball downfield. That's all that they were doing in the first half against the Chiefs. Against the Buccaneers. And the Bucs were able to catch up in the second half because Tom Brady started playing like Tom Brady, and they were able to finally contain the Chiefs. It's just that the lead got so large that they just weren't going to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are too good of a team to let that lead slip away, even if they weren't scoring as much as they were in the first half. So I think if the Buccaneers take their second half game plan, obviously tweak it a little bit because you want to change things up, and play it against the Chiefs, they can win the game. And I do think that's what's going to happen, and I do think the Buccaneers are going to win the Super Bowl. I'll probably be wrong. Maybe this won't even be the Super Bowl matchup. Now, if it's who I wanted to be in the Super Bowl, I would want it to be the Buccaneers and the Bills. I think that would be a very interesting matchup. That would be the matchup I'd most like to see. If it was my sleeper teams, it would be Washington against the Colts. That'd be boring. I think those two teams match up very boringly against each other, but there's a lot of different things that could happen this year's playoffs. This season's been kind of unpredictable. The playoffs are going to be unpredictable too. But there it is. That's my playoff prediction. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.